Venison shoulder. One of the most unfairly unloved cuts of meat. Full of tendons, sinew, and silverskin, lending itself useless as a steak, but absolutely stunning as a slow-cooked piece of meat. All of the tough stuff that makes it so ill-suited as a steak is exactly what makes it the best choice for shredded, fall-apart meat. The tough stuff dissolves and combines with braising liquid to form a silky sauce to hold the super tender meat. This combination is so good, you'll want to put it over any starch you have, but it's best used as the gravy in a souped-up version of poutine. I like to start by removing some of the larger pieces of silver skin and fat, although if you're willing to cook it long enough, this is optional. You actually want a fair amount to provide structure to the sauce. A bit of tallow will not give an unpleasant taste or texture. Salt and pepper the entire surface of the shoulder. You won't be able to overdo it. Then chop your onions evenly so that they'll brown evenly when we sauté them. Mince about 3 cloves of garlic and also evenly chop 3 carrots. Now we're going to start browning the meat using my favorite piece of kitchenware, the French oven. I'm using high heat to brown the shoulder in avocado oil. This will add flavor and texture to the meat itself, but will also give us fond on the bottom of the pan that will be incorporated into the future sauce. Similarly to browning the meat, we're going to brown the vegetables, which is important for the sauce, as this builds up even more of our fond on the pan, and of course softens them and brings out more flavor. Cook until you have a lot of color, but no burning. Then, adding a bit of flour will add a little bit of body to the sauce that will form. Adding it at this point and cooking it for just a couple of minutes will cook out any of the raw flavor. Now we'll add our liquids. A soft red wine, such as a Pinot Noir, is perfect, but any dry red will do. Also, your choice of a dark stock. If you have venison stock, use it. Otherwise, veal or normal beef stock will be fine. A bunch of thyme and 2 bay leaves adds a nice layer of flavor, as would a full bouquet garni. Add the venison. The liquid level should just almost fully cover the meat. Bring to a simmer, then place in the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit, or keep it on the stovetop at a bare simmer. This is going to take some time, at least 5 or 6 hours. Plan for at least 9 hours to be safe. It's done when it's done, not when the timer says it is. While the shoulder braises, we'll prepare our potatoes to make fries. Find the flattest side of the potato and slice off the edge to make it perfectly flat. This allows us to slice the potato without it moving. Cut them into about 3/8 of an inch thick sticks in width and depth for the length of the potato. As you finish slicing the fries, add them to a bowl of cold water to preserve the color and remove some of the surface starch, which will help the texture when fried. After you've realized that your bowl is too small to hold all of your fries, transfer it to a larger bowl to still just barely hold them all. Let them soak in the fridge, changing the water a couple times as the starch leaches out. Back to the meat. When it's finished braising, it should fall apart easily when prodded with a fork or picked up with tongs. Transfer all the meat and the bone to a plate or cutting board and cover. Also, remove any herbs and discard. Turn up the heat on the remaining liquid, bring to a boil, and reduce to about half of its volume while we cut up some cheese. The traditional cheese for poutine is of course cheddar cheese curds. However, I've found that I'm often left desiring a lot more melting from the cheese. Butterkase has recently become the darling cheese for grilled cheese enthusiasts for its propensity to melt and its mild but full flavor. These properties are what make it perfect as a poutine cheese as well. Cube 1 pound of it and allow it to come up to room temperature while we get back to our meat, which should now have cooled enough to handle. We're going to shred the meat with our hands, even a bit finer than one would for a pulled meat sandwich. This meat will combine with our sauce to form a ragout gravy hybrid. That is a French ragout, not Italian. If any cartilage type stuff has persisted through the braising, toss it out. You should be left with a clean shoulder blade and a beautiful pile of shredded venison. At this point, the sauce should be reduced to a medium thick gravy to combine with the shredded meat. Now that the sauce is reduced and combined with the meat to form what I'll call our gravy, taste for how much salt to add. This will vary greatly depending on how salty your stock was. Return to a burner and stir to reheat until hot and set aside as we make the fries. After the soaking water is running clear, after a few changes, drain and dry with a kitchen towel as best as possible. Leave to air dry and turn as needed so that they're dry to the touch. Fill a medium pot with about 4 cups of vegetable or peanut oil. More oil means more thermal mass, resulting in less temperature drop when you add the cold fries. After the oil is at about 325 degrees Fahrenheit, dump in a handful of cut potatoes and fry for about 3 minutes. The fries will soften some, but should not brown at all. Then remove to a paper towel to drain and prepare a skillet with about a 1/4 cup of duck fat. Home rendered duck fat, made from wild ducks like this here, is best because it will have a bit more flavor to add to the fries, but store-bought is fine too. Don't use fat from diver ducks, unless you like fish-flavored fries, and you don't. You want the fat for the second frying to be at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which happens to be the smoke point of duck fat. This means that you can simply heat the duck fat while keeping a close eye on it, and once you see the first faint wisps of smoke forming, add your fries and turn down the heat slightly. Then fry for about 5 to 7 minutes until some nice color develops and the outside crisps some. Repeat making batches of fries in this way until all of your fries have been cooked, then season with sea salt. Finally, it's time to assemble the dish. In a bowl, lay down a layer of fries, and then a handful of cheese cubes. And then a good portion of the venison ragout gravy on top. A little bit of fresh thyme on top, and sea salt if you forgot to salt the fries when you were supposed to, like I did. Pair with your favorite French-Canadian bière and enjoy the ultimate combination of comfort food and class. I can't think of a more delicious way to prepare venison shoulder and turn it from something hardly worthy of ground venison into truly one of the best things that venison can be made into. If you liked this video and you want to see more like it, please subscribe and hit the like button.